Welcome back to another episode of Two Scrippers, One Motherfucking Pole. Let's jump straight in. So with unfinished thoughts, there were a couple of things. One, I had been talking about just the whole experience with Freddie Gray, and I was talking about my professor and how maybe she thought she had good intentions, but in that conversation that we jumping right in, y'all. But in that conversation, my classmate had chose to focus on the two people in particular that were like robbing the beauty supply stores, and then the young boy who had took the UPS truck on like a drive. And it was just really agitating me. So like my leg was shaking and I was just trying to keep my composure, and then my teacher thought that it was then appropriate to ask me what was on my mind. And I just kind of like ripped him a new asshole, because like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And like I had said in the last episode, it's like this that's like the purpose. They want to highlight behaviors like this to try to justify beating people or putting them in prison. And then it's like it also emphasizes the idea and the belief that consumerism is more important than a human life. It's deflecting from why are we even outside in the first place? Why are we even here? Because you unjustly killed somebody and are getting away with it. And we just keep seeing it over and over and over and over again. So that was an unfinished thought. Another unfinished thought was when I was talking about, I had saw a video that was related like to this topic. I had saw a video of pro-Palestinian protesters outside of Union Station, and how they had the cops all just like dressed up in riot gear, and there was like somebody was doing something. They were like burning, because I don't know how to pronounce the name, and I didn't, it was because some Israel leader was here. And so they were obviously trying to make it like harder for them to continue passing the laws that they are passing, and just like downright disregard for all of the human lives that are still being that are still at risk. And so they were like lighting a statue or a piñata or something that they had made as a mock of the person that was here. And it's been a long morning. And I could see how like some of those behaviors are dangerous, right? And then like I said last episode, and like I'm saying again now, like you're always gonna have some people that are gonna be outside and just kind of like causing a ruckus. And regardless of that, though, that does not justify the behavior of the person that's supposed to be trained in de-escalating a situation, and like knows the risk associated with serving in this position. And so there was like one person, femme person, who was in a video, and they were interacting with a different cop. And I guess from what I could see, it looked like they were like trying to talk to the cop, but recording the interaction as well. And then it was like pretty peaceful on that side. Next to it was some crazy stuff happening next to him. So the other cops were getting riled up and like trying to do what they do and fuck with the other people. And somewhere all of that, the person that had been trying to have this conversation with the other cop, again, I don't know what was being said, what was being done, but compared to all the other chaoticness that was happening around this person, they were very civilized. And the cop that they weren't even talking to, they weren't even interacting with this other cop, comes and fucking face smushes the fuck out of this person. I mean, like straight palm to nose, like Get the fuck out of here. So I double down on everything I said last week. It's just, that's ridiculous. Like, if you're gonna be in this position, and I know, like, outside of this, y'all got some serious shit that y'all gotta deal with, right? Like, y'all walk in on some crazy crime scenes. Um, but it's just, it goes back to, y'all need sensitivity training, y'all need emotional regulation training, especially with all the PTSD that y'all do have to face. Like, it's just, yeah. And then my other unfinished thought, which kind of leads in how I said I was just going to talk about it this week. I was talking about how the colorless woman, I feel like could be considered one of the evilest people, right? For all of the reasons. And I had brought that up because I was talking about just like the election and the type of stresses that I caused, and I realized I never really finished my sentence. But I have a new sense of stress because Kamala being a black woman, and you know, the hate and backlash that I've already started to see that she will receive. And I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. It was like, okay, well, we already saw it with Obama, we already saw it when she was VP, yes, but also, like, I hope she wins. Let's say she does win. Like, the chaos, you already have these politicians, like, what was that? I think he was from Ohio, who was like, oh, if Trump doesn't win, it's gonna be a civil war. And so then he comes back and was like, oh, I don't believe anything I said, I was just in the moment. Being in the moment and saying wild shit like that while you got all these other people, his followers, that have been proven to be crazy just like him, January 6th and every fucking other thing that they do, saying shit that you don't believe in, getting people riled up, that's how you get people in harm's way. Because they're sitting here listening to you think, oh yeah, civil war. So now the next person that they see that voted for Kamala, or just is like black or whatever else, or an immigrant, or whatever other anti-person rhetoric you're out here spewing, now they're at risk because you just saying shit in the heat of the moment. And it goes back to emotional regulation. First of all, you meant what the fuck you said, because you said it. You knew the power of what you were saying. You knew. But even if you want to claim you didn't, as a politician, as somebody in power with influence, you should know better than to be saying and doing shit like that. And having like the emotional regulation to be able to be like, hold on, I'm getting a little riled up, I'm letting the people around me, like, you know, gas me up, now I'm saying crazy shit. So even in that moment, but when you get all that criticism is when you want to come back, oh no, I didn't mean that, I don't do it. No, you know damn well you went home and you polished off your fucking KKK hood. You know damn well, and you will be right outside ready to go up in arms. And so it kind of stresses me out. Oh, bless me. I need a tissue. I'm not even gonna hold y'all, I got a little bit of snot on my shirt. That's crazy. I tried to play my sneeze off, but then I saw that snot. Like, I can't let that go. When I had COVID, this is a sidebar, when I had COVID, I got the bright idea to I saved my tissues, right? And because you know, there's some internet freaks. Hey, calling all internet freaks. It's some of them out there that want shit like that. So I have this plan to make an artwork out of it. Don't worry, I'm gonna disinfect it. Which I actually already did do an initial spray, but then once I actually start working it, what I have in my mind, but yeah, I saved all my tissues, because I mean, my nose was running. You would have thought it was an election. So yeah, but what I was saying, so now this new stress comes more so at like having someone, and there's like, I went on a kind of like a doom scroll yesterday, because there's this person that I follow on Twitter, and I can't really tell, like, he's a black man, and I can't really tell like what his stance is, because I couldn't really find anything that he was tweeting, but then some of the other stuff he was retweeting, like, it was just, I couldn't really was happening. And I thought it was interesting that it was like so many black men that were just like, they had shit like, oh, black women are dope, black women are this, to protect black women, but then you scroll down and then they're just like talking all this blasphemy about a black woman. And the black woman is the most disrespected person in America, for being black and being a woman. But then at the same time, it's like, we have so much power, and people, I don't fucking know. It's interesting being a black woman, but part of everybody's argument, some women are included in this argument, but I've seen mostly men, but it's like trying to de I can't think of the actual word that I want to say, so I'm just going to make up my own word, but like de-blackify Kamala, because she's not a black American, or she's not African or whatever, like she's biracial, having a father who, I believe her father is Jamaican and Asian, and then her mother is Indian. And so she has this multiple identities, right? And this is something that we talk about and we see within the black community, is like, what is black enough? Who is considered black? Then you have people of African descent versus black Americans, or versus this type of black, or you're biracial, you're this, you're that. That is fueling white hatred and racism, to pit us against ourselves, to then bring that argument, like, in the eye of the colorless people, we all niggas. You got a little melanin in your skin, you's a nigga. Okay? It don't matter if you a light nigga, a medium nigga, or a dark nigga. You is a nigga. Okay? So that's problem number one. We're feeding into that. And like, yes, there is a difference between like the experiences of a black American versus an African American versus a European black versus a Caribbean black, or Latin American black, whatever. There's differences, but at the end of the day, we all still motherfucking black to the white man. Okay? The only difference is you might be working in the house, teaching the kids and cooking meals, or you outside picking that fucking cotton, getting them backlashes because you're moving too slow. Okay? So I always think that that's just so interesting. And somebody said something that I was like, okay, I agree with them. It could have been said in a different way, but like, that idea of like, all right, trying to pose Kamala as a black American is false, because it means something different to be a black American, which is true. Just the trauma of how we got here and how we've continued to be treated in America, that is different, and how we have this cultural upbringing that's different from that of another black person. And they were saying, so it's like, to I wish I could find a video. I was about to say, where's my iPad? My iPad's right here. But I know I'm not gonna be able to find the video again. But that was like their argument of, trying to sit here and say she's black American, or da da da. That is false, because her parents, neither one of them are black Americans. And I don't know her upbringing. I don't know if she was born and raised in America. So I'm not going to speak too much on that. But in that case, you can still argue, like, if that is the case, you could argue that she is a black American because, again, in the eyes of white people, she is black. She just a lighter black, but she black. So she would still be treated as such. So you could kind of have that argument, right? Now, she was born in another country and came here, which I don't even think to run for US, that's not even possible. You got to be a citizen. So, yeah, there's that part. But as always, send stories, questions, and topics to two scrippers. Oh, and corrections. That's why I started saying this. To two scrippers one pole at gmail.com. What the fuck? I'm confused. Did I not start recording? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to. Oh, I started recording all the way back here. So fun fact, this episode is actually directly, I've recorded last week's episode and then I listened to it and I was cleaning and then I started recording this episode. So according to my laptop, I'm an hour and 44 minutes in, but I don't got my glasses on. I think I'm really 16 minutes in. Anyway, so yeah, back to why I brought all this up. In the eyes of the whites, Kamala is black and she's a black woman. And so the stress that I now have is that, like, you already see how, like, black men disrespect black women. And I've seen, like, the things that I saw, people just dragging her through the mud, were crazy. And then you have just, like, everybody else is kind of like, oh, the black woman is seen as aggressive or too emotional or whatever else. Like, that's a whole nother episode on its own, right? But, I just fear that, like, with her being the forefront, now your average black woman is now a surrogate for her. And what I mean by that is, if you're really upset that she's running and that she's potentially the next president of the United States, and that pisses you off, you don't have direct contact to her. You can't just run up on her, and, like, or speak to her directly to express your grievances. So now, subconsciously or consciously, you are now projecting your feelings about her towards another black woman that you may see in passing or that you may actually, like, have to work with. And so that was just kind of where my mind shifted of, like, I'm really happy that Biden did make the decision to step down, and have another candidate. And I was, like, really excited to see that she raised so much money in such a short amount of time. But my friend, and I saw this in my, like, Twitter deep dive too, is that, like, all of that money that was raised, 81 million or however much, I think it might have been more than that, is a lot of money. I love it because it was actually, they did that triple match. I did my little $20 or whatever. But and it was, a lot of it was like smaller funds. What I read, I forget where I read it, but they were saying that, like, a lot of that was just, like, smaller donations. But I know that one of the things that made me do it was that they were talking about a triple match. So whatever you donated, they were going to match it and triple it. So, like, if you donated $20, it was really $80. And they said that, like, it was that, like, oh, you need to do it by tonight for us to do it. So that's how they got so much money. But somebody I was talking to, and like I said, I saw it on Twitter, somebody brought up a good point that it's like, all of that money raised, that's so much fucking money. Millions, billions, all of that, that's so much fucking money. We should not have world hunger. We should not have the housing crisis. We should not have, Flint, Michigan still don't got clean water. Like, there's so many things that need to be done, you know? So that was just kind of like a food for thought moment that it was like, this is great. This is amazing. I love that for her. And I really hope that this is like, this propels and like does what needs to be done. But it is kind of like one of those moments where you sit back and it's like, so if y'all was able to do all this money, why is no, like, why do we still not have all these years later? Why do we still not have clean water in Flint? why why do we still have so many unhoused people? And then on top of the unhoused people, you got architects building anti-homeless furniture. You got the benches that have the separations, or have like, you certain things will have like spikes built into them to prevent people from sleeping there. But y'all don't want to make the cost of living affordable. Why do we even have money? Like, so just that was just my little two piece on all of that. My unfinished thoughts from last week. Was there anything else? No, that's really it. So, I'll kind of go back to what I had wanted to say. What was this? I did talk about, cause y'all, I got all my notes on this one page. Cause like, I was like, I had my plan of what I was going to talk about last week or 2 weeks ago now. And then I ended up talking about Project 2025 because somebody tried to unalive Trump. And then that went on that tangent. So then I was going to like, oh, what I was going to talk about originally, I was just going to move to last week. But then I was like, all of this stuff happened. So I was like, okay. So that became its own episode. So then I was like, oh, I still didn't finish. And so, anyway, so let's say like 20 something minutes. Yeah. I'm gonna read to y'all again. I brought my little book back out. I'm actually read y'all 2 chapters. But before I do that, head on over to Balesa and use code BBBustinNuts for 30% off your next explosive nut. I'm telling y'all honestly, I'm so proud of myself for recording 2 episodes back to back and getting on track, getting my life together. And I still got a couple more episodes. I'm hoarding episodes right now. Okay, I'm hoarding episodes. So I'm like, I could treat myself to a little flick the bean break. Okay. BB Bustin' Nuts, 30% off. Get you the Flutter one. My favorite. Y'all know this toy review about to blow your socks off. Okay. Bust them nuts, baby. I would say the Flutter wand is definitely in my top 3 now. If I was talking strictly Balesa toys, Balesa's in my top 3. I would definitely say that one. And I haven't used that one in a while. I might have to test it out. Ooh, I could double whammy it. Y'all, head on over to Patreon / 2 scribbles 1 pole. Patreon.com / 2 scribbles 1 pole for behind the scenes pole play, toy talk, extra bonus minisodes, and Tales of a Sensual Fendom. And then like other stuff that I just posted on there. Okay, $10 a month. $10. Okay, that's less than your coffee. However much you pay for your coffee every week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So back to this. I wanted to read 2 chapters. And so before I get into the 2 chapters, a little backstory. So, we're now are we in August? No. Oh, wait a minute. It's August 1st. It's my motherfucking birthday month. Bitch. Wait, let me make sure that's right. Look at the calendar. What's today? Today is the 25th. Where'd it go? Okay, we're here. Yep, this is August 1st. So it's the countdown to my motherfucking birthday. I'm gonna be 28 and I ate this motherfucking year. Okay. And so shout out, happy belated birthday to friend of the podcast, Deshawn, my shit show. Cause her birthday was July 15th. So at the time of this recording, it was last week. And on the 14th, we had went to dinner for her birthday. So we went to this Eddie V's in Tyson's Corner. It was my first time. It was a little fancy restaurant. I think I ended up getting, what did I get as my entree? I got a lobster bisque, and I had got some crab stuffed shrimp, and it was really good. Definitely overpriced. The shrimp, it was only two shrimp. They were good as shit though. They were really bomb. And then the lobster, y'all, they gave me, it don't even look like it was a full claw. It was the tiniest little bit of lobster meat, and then a little like shrunken piece of bread, and they put it down on the table. I said, I got the lobster bisque. This is supposed to be soup. Like, I was so confused because sometimes people be trying to take their own spin on shit. And I was like, I know damn well y'all not charging me $19 for a piece of fucking lobster. Like, barely a claw and a piece of bread. I was like, I got soup. He was like, yeah, no. And then he like poured it. But still, I was pissed. And then they had said that it was like a, ooh, sorry, ooh, big ass knee, sorry y'all. They had made it seem like it was like a white sauce, because I'm not a fan of red sauce, but I ate that. It was good. I was just pissed. Both of that shit was overpriced, but anyway, so that was my first time. It was a nice little upscale restaurant, so I was like, ooh, let me see if I can find me a sugar daddy, right? So I had before, I had met early because I think the reservation for was like 6:30, and they had a weekend brunch from, or not brunch, happy hour, I think, from like 3 to 6, I think. Yeah. Either 3 to 6 or 3 to 6:30 or something like that, or maybe it was 4. I don't really remember. But the point was they had a weekend happy hour, so I was like, oh, this is a nice upscale restaurant. Let me see what they putting down. So I had, like, I had on this nice little red dress. I put my hair up. I put on my little glasses. And I did have on some earrings, some gold earrings. And I just was like, let's see what happens. So I got there, and the bar really was not hitting on anything. Like, there was a white couple there. There was this woman, we gonna call her auntie. There was another woman, we just gonna call her orange shirt. Then there seemed to be like another couple. I think they were black. They weren't really memorable because they was on the other side. And then there was a gentleman of Omega Psi Phi at the table, at the thing. So he was the only person that was really by himself, right? And I was like, I can't even try to see if he going Mac Daddy, because I'm not gonna say why, but yeah, I was like, that's not even possible. Like, I can't do that. So I sit down at the bar, and I'm just like, all right, well, maybe some sugar daddy is gonna walk in and sit down next to me or whatever. Something gonna happen, right? So, but somebody paying for my motherfucking drink, okay? So I get my glass of wine, and I'm just sitting there, just like kind of observing what's happening. So the white couple, no, so first, when the bartender comes over to me, she's like, what would you like? And I'm asking her, like, is she a wine person? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, like, what would you say is better? And at this point, auntie slowly start kind of getting in my conversation. So I'm like, would you say, not to auntie, to the bartender, that the Pinot Noir is better, or the cab? Because listen, I'm a cab girly, okay? I love, and it's so funny because I talk to people about the evolution of like wine tasters. Usually you start off with Moscato, and you think Moscato is just the best thing since sliced bread. You're so amazed by it. It's so yummy. But then once you start, because I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but I used to work at a winery. And so that's when I really started. Like, I had already been a wine connoisseur before then, but then I got a job at a winery. So then I started to learn more. But it's like everybody starts in like the Moscato range. It's sweet, it's cheap, and it does taste good. But then your palate develops, and you're like, this is literally disgusting. Now, there are some Moscatos. Like, I do like a red Moscato. And then there's Moscato d'Asati, that is still sweet, but I think it's good. There's I'm blanking on who Is it? It's not Stella. Stella. There's like a peach Moscato. It is. It no, it's not. That's not because it's some brand that I'm forgetting. I think it's like Villa something. But that was like when I first started drinking wine, and they have a peach Moscato, and I loved it so much. So Moscato usually is like the virginity taker, the wine virginity taker. Cheryl looks crazy. Y'all, I've also been meaning to tell y'all, like, I'm just over here heartbroken because I told y'all a while back that I was repotting my plants, right? And I shouldn't have done that because a lot of my plants are mad at me right now. Cheryl is just looking crazy. Like her things are really long, but she just keeps toppling over and I just don't know what to do. Then fucking I broke down my snake plant and I ended up well I have two snake plants now and I had what did I do with them? I gave one away to a coworker. I gave the other away to my former internship. And then I had two. And then I think I just like gave back to the earth the other ones. Because I don't remember what I did with them. And I couldn't find anybody that really wanted them. So, yeah. So they're just kind of, everything's in shock. But Georgina, y'all, I know in some video, and I couldn't figure out, in some video I had posted about Georgina, like that is my girl. So if you're new here, Georgina is my fiddle leaf fig. And I've had her since she was a wee little baby. She was gifted to me. I got her in 2020. So she is like, she's really older because she's like from another plant. But she's been in my care for the past 4 years. And we have been through thick and thin. I mean, baby girl, like when I had moved, I remember part of her little leaves were sticking out the window. I'm looking at her because, girl, you so crazy. Part of her leaves were sticking out the window. And when I came back, like, she was just ripped to shreds. I was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, what is the plant equivalent to CPS? PPS, somebody call them because what? Like, I really just, like, I was like, never again. Then, luckily, I had, oh, I never noticed that that had a writing on it. I wonder what that says. When I had a studio space, I had a palm tree. I'll never get another palm tree. That's a lie. I might get one, but like I would have to make sure that it's separate from everything else in the house because they are subject to spider mites. And spider mites, once they get on that motherfucker, like I had so many plants that all basically died because they were too close to the palm, and the spider mites got on that bitch and tackled the shit out of them. But luckily, my baby girl Georgina did not get infected and survived. I love you, girl. But now, since I repotted her, I don't know what's going on because I ended up moving her closer to the window, which she's been in that spot before, and all of my other plants do fine. But as of recently, I've been keeping her like further back near the door. But I moved her back over here. So I thought initially that maybe it was just like shock and sun damage because I'll bring her over here for a second so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Come here, girl. Ugh. So look, if y'all know, she was full of life, okay? She has so many leaves. So, for those of you watching, like you see her leaves right there have like this brown, well, it's not even brown, honestly. It's more of like this one is kind of like a brown green, but all of her leaves just started turning like this really nasty gray. So if you remember the episode of SpongeBob where Squidward had the I think he was trying to make, I think he, or was it was like Plankton tried to make the Krabby Patty, but it was like all mush and gray. That was the color of her leaves. So entire leaves started turning that color. And then it was like you could literally, like, if you just put your finger on it like that, they would just snap off. And is that a new leaf coming? I know that's right, Georgina. I know that's right. Okay, you make your mommy so proud. Y'all, I was stressed out. I thought I killed my baby girl. I really did. Because when I say, like, literally, she was full. All of this was foliage. It was so much. And they all just started falling off one by one. And she literally had, like, maybe these two, like, these four, and then two of these. When she was, for those of you watching, you wouldn't have been able to see my face right now because she had that many leaves. So at first, like, when I first noticed what was happening, I got really scared. So I was thinking, like, oh, maybe it's sun damage, because I never really figured out what was wrong. I thought maybe it was just sun damage. So I tried to move her away, and I tried to take off all the infected leaves. And I haven't taken these ones off because they haven't, like, the other ones, they were fine. Like, I'm still watching her very closely. They were fine like this. And then out of nowhere, I would come back a few hours later and they were just completely gray. And then some of them that weren't even gray, you would touch them and they would just fall off. So I really thought that this was going to be the end of an era. And I promise you, if I killed Georgina, I high key might have just stopped trying to be a plant parent. Because what I want for you, baby, is for you to be a big, strong, beautiful tree. I want you to be as big as my pole. Like, I have a friend, shout out Udom. First of all, their house is beautiful. And they have so many plants. And their fiddle leaf fig is to the ceiling, beautiful, thick, with 3 C's, trunk, just, oh, it's leaves huge, so beautiful. So I definitely, like, when I get more settled, I want to figure out how to, like, is there, like, what can I do? If you are if you're a plant person and you know what could potentially be wrong with this, or how to, like, do what I wanted to do, please let me know. I've been trying to talk to her a lot more so she knows that I love her. It's just, mommy's a little bit stressed out. And you see, there's a lot going on, okay? But don't think I don't love you, because I love you so much, Georgina. I just love you so much. I love Georgina. I don't even care if I sound like the crazy plant lady, y'all. I will sit here and hug her the rest of this episode. I love her so much. I love you. So yeah, I was getting really nervous and thinking she was gonna die, and I've just been, like, closely watching her. But I noticed that she has new growth, and the problem doesn't seem to still be spreading. So, like, this leaf right here is a new guy. This one, I don't even think you could see it because of the balloon, but this little guy right here is new. And then I just saw that she also has one getting ready to come out from here. It looks like I see a little green-ish node right here, but that's so far down. I don't really think I don't think that's gonna flourish. And then let me put her back on the ground because I don't want to bend her too much. It potentially looks like I don't see any new growth from there right now. But yeah, so we'll see. But I was nervous, y'all. So what was I talking about before I started talking about? Oh, so yeah, I was at the bar, and I was talking to the bartender about which wine she thought was better, either the Pinot Noir or the Cab, and because I was talking about different wines. That's how I got there. But how did I get to Georgina? I don't remember. Anyway, so she was like, oh, I'll let you taste test. So auntie, who was sitting next to me, was like, oh, I love Cab, da-da-da. So he was like, yeah, I'm a Cab girly, this and the third. So then she was getting ready to ask me something, but then she got distracted by the white folk. So they were in a conversation. I don't really know what the context was. The white people was trying to Google something. They were in the conversation with Auntie, and they were trying to Google something. And so Orange Shirt provided context to whatever. I've been talking for 40 minutes. That's crazy. Okay. Um the the Orange Shirt provided context to whatever it was they was talking about, and she was like something whatever they was talking about had to do with slavery. So I just looked at the white people, and then I looked at Auntie, and then me and Orange Shirt made eye contact. We both just like made like a smirk, shook our head, and went back to what we was doing. So then this other girl came in. We gonna call her White Shirt. She comes in, and she was like, "Oh, is anybody sitting here?" And I was like, "No, you're fine." So she sat in between me and the Q dude. And then they started talking a little bit, and I pulled out my book, because I taste tested my wine. I decided, did I go? Ooh, I think I ended up actually getting the Pinot Noir instead of the Cab, because I wanted it lighter. And their Cab wasn't really heavy bodied anyway, but yeah, I wanted the Pinot Noir. So I was sipping my little wine, and I was reading my little book. And I'm gonna read, it's 2 chapters. I'm gonna read the 2 chapters in a moment that I was reading. And so then eventually Deshawn and her family came, so I ended up leaving the bar. But before that happened, there was this other dude that came in, and he sat in between Auntie and the white people. So it seemed like he was trying to put his Mac Daddy, because he sat right next to Auntie. It seemed like he was trying to put his Mac Daddy on her. So then out of nowhere, some woman comes in, and he asks Auntie to move her bag and move her stuff and move over so that this girl that he was with could sit there. So me and Orange Shirt peeped, mind you. So Orange Shirt at one point had bought Auntie a drink. And, the bartender came and was like, she was like, "Oh, what is this?" She was like, "Oh, it's from the lady over there." So Auntie was like, "Oh, thank you, young woman, da da da." So then the man comes in, sits down, that whole thing happens. He asks Auntie to move. So me and Orange Shirt make eye contact again, and it's just like, mind my business. So I picked up my little wine glass, and I went back to reading. So then I peeped that Orange Shirt asked the other bartender to get me a drink. So I was like, I'm gonna just sit here and mind my business. I told the universe somebody was gonna buy my drink. I wasn't specific. I just said I want my drink bought. Okay, so I'm gonna mind my business and read my book and let this drink be paid for. So I peeped the whole exchange. And then the bartender comes over and starts refilling my glass. And I was like, "Thank you." He was like, "Oh, no, it's not from me. It's from the woman over there." And so then he ended up moving, and she was looking at me. So I said, "Thank you." And then I went back to reading my book. Then Deshawn came. We moved. So then I noticed where we were sitting, I could still see, like, at this point, Auntie, Orange Shirt moved over next to Auntie, was talking to Auntie, and then White Shirt, who was sitting on the other side of me, she moved closer to them. So it was just like they was like the motherfucking golden girls at the table kikiing it up. And so I was just kind of peeping. I'm like, okay, what's Orange Shirt doing? Because Orange Shirt could buy me another drink if she want to, right? So then at the end of dinner, I didn't spend as much as I thought I was going to on dinner. So I was like, I actually did want dessert. So I sat at the bar and got my dessert. So I sat back down at the bar. And so that's when White Shirt was like, "Oh, look who's back. Da, 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 da." So she sat closer to me, and she just started talking to me and was basically filling me on the tea of what was going on. That apparently, like, Orange Shirt was trying Mac Daddy Auntie or something, but shit was getting a little hectic. Like, they didn't really know what was going on. So then me and White Shirt just started conversing about just like, we started talking about art therapy. What is that? And we started talking about plant care, and she was telling me some things to do for Georgina. and just like, yeah, we was chopping it up. So then at one point, Auntie, because I that was the part that I left out. Auntie saw that Orange Ship bought me a drink, and she was like, oh, like she was visibly upset that I got a drink from the same girl that she got a drink. So Auntie, who's plastered at this point, is like, and what the fuck you doing back over here? And I was just like, I just looked at her and just giggled, cause like, baby girl, you drunk? Leave me alone. Leave me alone. So I don't really know what was going over there, but Auntie was a hot mess, and it was just so much going on. So me and White Shirt was just like, we gonna mind our business and have our own conversation. And she had told me that, she has, when she sat down next to the Q, they had started talking, but she could tell that he just like, he was like, so basically you giving me some pussy or nah? Because like, if you're not giving me no pussy, I'm not paying you no mind, right? um so then eventually Auntie like got up, and then Orange Shirt had said something to me, and I think I ended up moving in between the two of them at this point, or no, I didn't. So we were all just talking, and it was funny, like at this, oh yeah, so I had finished my food, and I had like got up and like was standing in between them just talking, and they were talking about like, they had complimented me, said that I was pretty, my hair looked nice, I had a little updo or whatever. And they were saying that like I must be real responsible because they've never in their life seen somebody come to the bar and read a book. And Orange Shirt was like, no, you were really reading the book. It's not like you just like opened it up and you was on the first page. Like, no, you was in the middle of that bitch and you was reading. And like when I bought you the drink, you just looked up and was just like, thank you, and then went back to reading like it's just a normal day. And she was like, I'm not gonna lie, like when you did it, I was like, this bitch. And then White Shirt was like, right, like both of them was like, they texted their friend like, you won't believe it, it's a bitch at the bar reading a book. And I was like, it's funny because I really was just kind of rereading the same sentence over and over because it was so much going on. And since I read the book, I was able to go through the book a little bit faster since I've read this before. But like for the most part, I was reading unactively because it was just so much happening. So that was one of the things that I have been meaning to talk about, was that experience. So happy belated birthday to Deshaun. Happy belated birthday to Jax as well. Georgina girl, I love you. Don't stress mama out. So I'm gonna go ahead, and as I move to start transitioning out, I'm gonna read the book that I haven't read in a while. So I read like the introduction. I read the first chapter, The Law of Pure Potentiality. I read chapter 4, The Law of Least Effort. So there's still chapter 2, The Law of Giving and Receiving. Chapter 3, The Law of Karma or Cause and Effect. Then chapter 5, The Law of Intention and Desire. And then chapter 6, The Law of Detachment. And chapter 7, The Law of Dharma or Purpose in Life. And then the afterword. So I'm actually going to read the Law of Attention, the Law of Intention and Desire, as well as the Law of Detachment. So we might end up around like 1:30 or something. You know what I'm saying? Cause I be thinking I be reading fast, but then I look back and I be like, damn, a whole extra 15 minutes was added. But okay. Chapter 5. In the beginning, there was desire, which was the first seed of mind. This is from Hymn of Creation, the Rig Veda. So, the fifth spiritual law of success, the law of intention and desire, says that our intentions and desires, when released in the field of pure potentiality, have infinite organizing power. Just by introducing an intention in the fertile ground of pure potentiality, we activate this field and put its infinite organizing power to work for us. This isn't a mystical notion. Every time we have a desire to walk or lift our arms, our intention incites millions of chemical reactions and electrical impulses that obey fixed laws of nature. The fifth spiritual law says that inherent in every desire are the mechanics for its fulfillment. and these mechanics apply to desires reaching far beyond the physical body. Energy and information exist everywhere in nature. At the level of pure consciousness, there is nothing other than energy and information. This means that there are no well defined edges between our physical body and our extended body, the universe. We can consciously change the energy and information of our own body and influence the energy and information of our extended body, our environment, and cause things to manifest in it. This change is brought about by two qualities inherent in consciousness: attention and intention. Attention energizes and intention transforms. Whatever we put our attention on grows stronger in our life. Whatever we take our attention away from withers and disappears. Intention triggers the transformation of energy and information and organizes its own fulfillment. The quality of intention on the object of attention orchestrates an infinity of details to bring about the intended outcome. We see the expression of this organizing power in every blade of grass, in every flower, in everything that is alive. In the scheme of nature, everything is connected and correlated with everything else. The groundhog comes out of the earth and we know it's going to be spring. Birds begin to migrate in a certain direction at a certain time of the year. Nature is a symphony that is silently orchestrated at the ultimate ground of creation. As long as we do not violate the other laws of nature, we can use conscious intent to literally command the powers of nature to fulfill our dreams and desires. Intention is the real power behind desire because it is desire without attachment to the outcome. Desire in most people is attention with attachment to the outcome. But when we combine intention with detachment, our intent is for the future, while our attention is in the present. Present moment awareness is powerful because the future is created by our actions in the present. We cannot take action in the past or in the future. Past and future are born in the imagination. Only the present, which is awareness, is real and eternal. If we practice present moment awareness, then the imaginary obstacles, which are more than 90% of the obstacles, disappear. The remaining obstacles can be transformed into opportunities through one pointed intention. This means holding our attention to the intended outcome with such unbending purpose that we refuse to allow obstacles to consume our attention or to dissipate the focus quality of our attention. This is the power of focus, intention, and detachment simultaneously. So what does that mean? How can you harness the power of intention, to fulfill your dreams and desires? You can get results through effort, but if you follow the 5 steps in the law of intention and desire, your intention will generate its own power. So 1, center yourself in the silent space between thoughts, in the essential state of being. Meditate. Sit with silence, because the silence not silent, y'all. The birds is chirping, the wind is blowing, the fucking whatever the fuck else be out there, water is flowing. Your neighbors is coughing up a lung down the hallway, or somebody making toast, or I don't know. But the silence is not silence unless you're like in a soundproof room. But even then, you should be able to hear the sound of your breath. Remind you that you're alive and in this moment. You know what I'm saying? Um, 2, release your intentions and desires with the expectation that they will bloom when the season is right. 3, keep your desires to yourself. Do not share them with anyone else unless they are closely bonded with you. 4, relinquish your attachment to the outcome. And 5, let the universe handle the details. Remember, your true nature is one of pure potentiality. You don't need to look at yourself through the eyes of the world or allow yourself to be influenced by the opinions of others. Remain established in the awareness of your true self. Carry the awareness of your spirit wherever you go. Gently release your desires, and the universe will orchestrate the details for you. To experience the law of intention and desire, make a list of your intentions and desires and look at this list before you go into silence, before you go to sleep at night, and when you wake up in the morning. Release your desires to the field of pure potentiality, trusting it to handle all the details for you. Know that when things don't seem to go your way, there is a reason. Practice present moment awareness in all of your actions. Refuse to allow obstacles to consume your attention in the present moment. So I think about, like, as I've always said, I think everything happens for a reason. It didn't work out for a reason, right? There was a lesson in it, or there was some type of protection. I talked about the time where I was really frustrated back in March because I was trying to get to school, and my car started doing this thing. And it was like, I had to realize a couple of days before that I was asking the universe for protection. And as fucked up as I felt in that moment, it was like this was me being protected, because the worst case scenario would be that I was on my way to school over an hour away for a night class, and I'm a woman by myself in my car, and in my car ends up I'm stuck on the side of the road now, waiting however many hours for a tow truck. Or maybe I might have to abandon my car and try to come back and get it the next day. It's late at night, so you see a woman by herself on the side of the road on a highway, like that could have been its own thing. So everything happens for a reason, and at first we might be fucked up about it, but like take that time to reflect and see, like, I was talking to somebody the other day about how they were saying they've always wanted to go to Alaska, and they've tried 3 times now, and every time that they've tried, something has come up which has prevented them from going. And the last time, it was like, I think they had booked a cruise to Alaska, but then COVID hit, so they was refunding everybody their money. So she was just like, this is now the 3rd time that I've tried and it hasn't worked out. Like, it's just not my time. So, like, I would love to go to Alaska, but it's not on my radar anymore. If it's meant for me to go to Alaska, I'll eventually end up there. And so she's just like, I'm not even, like, actively trying anymore. And so, it's just not her time to go to Alaska. I think about starting school, like that whole breakup. I was supposed to start my program that year, but because like my whole life got turned upside down, it was like I ended up deferring my acceptance for a year. And at first I was kind of upset about it, like, dang, that's just going to prolong this. And then once I actually started like getting more invested in the program, I'm like, dang, it's not even 2 years for real. Like, it's more than that, because even after you graduate, you still have to take a couple of summer classes to do this part, and you got to apply for licensure. And then once that's just your graduate license, you have to practice for at least 2 more years to get those extra hours to be able to actually get your like your full licensure, so that you could practice, you could create your own practice or whatever else. And so that journey of becoming a therapist, I didn't realize it was long as it was. I'm still gonna do it, and I'm still loving, like, I'm super glad I took the summer off. And I'll be moving back in to the flow of things this summer, or not this summer, this fall. And I don't have an internship I'm still part time, so I only am taking 2 classes a week. But this is the time I have to take summer classes, and I'll have to take a winter class because I didn't take a winter class, and I have to take summer classes next year. Um, and so kind of just like, all right, but I'm able to focus a little bit better now that I'm like, all right, I know I need the money for this. But two, uh, I don't have to worry about being present and showing up for my internship and doing this course load. Um, but back to why I originally brought this up, it was like, um, I was fucked up about it at first, like, damn, I gotta defer my acceptance, da da da. But then when I look back at it, I had started, I was talking to somebody about just the multiple journeys. I'm like, he started his lock journey back in December, which is when I started my lock journey, December 29th, 2021. Um, and he's like, I guess what, 7 months in now. And he was just talking about like how it's been really transformational for him. And I think about that too. It's like, so first I started my lock journey. And I don't know, I would say that like for me, my lock journey has been more of just like, I'm not worried about my hair. I never once felt like, even when I had my little teeny turds, I've never felt like my hair was ugly. I always thought my locks were beautiful, even in their little piece. So I never experienced that part that a lot of people talk about. Um, but for me, like, having locks has made it easier for me to focus on all these other parts of my life, because I'm not stressed out about what my hair looks like. And like, there's always going to be people, oh, you need a retwist for what? My hair looks fine. Like, and it's like right now, I'm not going to lie. Like my edges are, they giving me a lot of stress. This is the first time that I'll say, dang. And that's because I think part of it has to do with like me dyeing my hair and just having to, make sure it's been a lot of repair, because I told y'all I thought I was gonna be bald, and it was like a bunch of loose strands. And so since I dyed my hair back in May, a lot of what I've been doing is just like, I'm not trying to have my hands in my hair as much. And I've been trying to like do a little bit of crocheting, to like fix and repair that, and not have and haven't really been doing much traditional like palm rolling retwisting. So this is, I would say, the first time in the almost 2 years that I've had my lock. Or wait, how long has it been? Oh wow, it's been almost 3 years. Because we're in 2024 and I started in 20. Wow. Wow. So it's 2.5 years of having my locks. This is the first time that I'm like, I have to put a little bit more effort into my hair. Um, but yeah, like worrying about, is my hair done? Do I have a wig or da 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 da? Like, I save money because I don't buy hair products. I use water. Like when I go to the Botanica to get my herbs and shit, so I could do my witchy shit, I take a little bit of lavender and a little bit of rose petals and boil that shit in the motherfucking pot. Then let it cool down and strain it. That's how I spray my hair. I have shampoo. I buy shampoo every once in a blue moon because I don't even have to use that much when I wash my hair. Every once in a while I buy a big thing of eco styling gel, and I might buy like a container of mousse if I'm curling my hair. But I save money on hair products. Um, Saving money on trying to even get my hair done, because wigs cost hundreds of dollars. Or trying to, like, I was never like really into the wig, the plucking and all that. No, I get me a glueless wig and it looked natural, and I put that hoe on. I've never been an edge control. First, I was talking to my sister the other day, and she was saying like when I was a kid, she was like, no matter what I did to your hair, your edges was gonna come out. You had that little puff ball and a ring around your head, and it's just like they wouldn't do anything, and they still do that to this day. So I've never been, even when I was like a loose natural, I just did Bantu knots and stuff, like, and usually I would straighten my hair and Bantu knot it, or I would put it in braids, or I would put it in faux locks, or I would put it under a wig. So I wasn't really doing much with my hair. So I would say in that instance, like the beginning of my which really I would say my spiritual journey, but like starting with my lock journey has opened up the doorway for me to focus more of my energy on other journeys. So first it was locks, then it became my sex work journey, and then the which has now been a year, and then honestly, first it was my pole journey. First it was my pole journey, and learning to fall in love with my body and just building community and just all of that, tapping into that sexuality piece. Then my lock journey, then my sex work journey, and then the journey to become a therapist. And by the time I got to this point of like the journey to become a therapist, I don't have to worry about stressing over my hair, making sure my hair is done or whatever the case. I can throw it up in a ponytail, put a little wrap around it, it's fine. I've already started with starting sex work. I've already started immersing myself in this idea and like actually like consent and values and boundaries and things of that nature. So now it's being reinforced, and then just seeing the overlapping themes, like I told y'all, of like when we were doing the presentation, when I had a presentation on sexual dysfunctions and paraphilic disorders. It's like, okay, these are classified as disorders, but they become disorders when they put someone else in harm's way. And it's like a lot of this, if we taught sexual education, the journey to be a teacher, I guess, was really the first one. But if we taught these concepts of consent and just moved it, instead of just saying like, oh, you need consent, what does consent even mean? Can we show what that looks like? If we did that, then we wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have today. But sex education is focused on abstinence only, or really just like the portrayal of sex, which we've kind of been moving out of there. But when we look at all the shit that's happening in politics, and you know, the reverse of Roe v. Wade, and this just like essentially criminalization of like women, there's not even enough research and care and attention put into like women's bodies. Like, we're not a lot of the things on this planet that we go by are done on research based off of the white man. And there's so many things that are different. We're subject to so many different things. And so, you know, to not allow, you're giving women certain things, but you're not even testing it on women, and the adverse effects. And we're seeing as dramatic and, oh, this, that, and third. It's hysteria. It's this. And like, we suspect pelvic pains. I didn't realize, and eventually I'll go more in depth, but I didn't realize how common, and send corrections to two scribblers one pole at gmail.com, how common endometriosis is. Because I have one of my friends, I know that it was like, you know, she had came out about it and talked about it, and she thought that she was going to have a kid, and thankfully she was able to have a kid. And then it was just like two other people I was just having a casual conversation with, and it just came up that they had endometriosis. And I just think about like how many other stories I've heard of just how debilitating that could be. And then just like period cramps for some people generally is like, you know, I have to use my PTO because of something I have no control over, being villainized for having a period. And then if you look at other cultures, like sewing women's genitals together to, and all of this is because we put so much of an emphasis on male pleasure, and we don't teach consent. So we are inadvertently, or in some cases very obviously, putting this focus on like, I am male, I am horny, you must please me, I don't care what you say, I don't care how this feels, you know. And even like I think about earlier, like when I first started having sex, it's just like, you know, I didn't really know what an orgasm was. I didn't know how to achieve an orgasm, and it was just like, oh, I'm here to be pounded. And it's, you know, And I look at the sex I had then versus the sex I have now, and like that there's just so much pleasure, and even just pleasuring your partner. Like there's sometimes where we don't even have sex for real. Like, oh, you want to see me masturbate? Oh, I want to watch you masturbate. And we can get off and have a great experience from that alone. We don't actually have to have penetrative sex. And even if we do, we don't have to come. And that's fine. We could still have a great time. Like I think about, this is like personal, but I think about, and this is like crazy because I was talking about intention and desire and now I'm here. Like but I think about this one time where like, we were just doing stuff, and I was just like in my head I was kind of talking to myself, and I'm like, I don't like, I'm feeling it, but I'm not. Like, I don't really want to have sex right now. I'm fine with not coming, right? And honestly, what it was that I ain't feel like cleaning up the mess. I didn't feel like cleaning up a mess. So like, we're in the heat of the moment, and in my head I'm just like, no, I don't really feel like it. I don't really feel like it. And then I was thinking like, oh, well, you're already here. And I said, no, like I don't need to do this. And like I said, we've interacted before where we've taken care of each other, and I don't need to, like, we don't have to have sex for this to work. And honestly, I genuinely just don't feel like coming in any way, shape, or form, because I'm too tired to clean up that mess. And so I took a break, and I was like, I don't really want to come. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm not really feeling it. Like, I'm here to please you. I want you to come, but I don't want to come, because his cum is easier to clean up. So anyway, maybe I'll just read the one chapter and I'll save the other chapter. Fuck it. We're already here. We got some time. So to bring it back, how I went off on this tangent, bring it back. I know I was talking about, believing that the universe and the law of pure potentiality, like there's so many possibilities. Literally the possibilities are endless. And like, if you put your mind to it, 9 times out of 10, there's definitely a way to make it happen, or at least to start the process for the next person. Maybe you really are the initiator for this grand idea, and it's going to be like, you might not see it in your lifetime or your active work, but you're lighting the torch to pass to someone else to do, right? Depending on whatever that desire is. So everything happens for a reason. And then just like that, practicing present moment awareness in all of your actions, always easier said than done, but really just trying to like be present. And what does that look like? Like if you're in a heated argument, taking a step back and recognizing like, okay, this argument is causing tightness in my chest, or it's causing a pain in my stomach. I need to take a breath. How can I like, I hear you, and I'm trying to come up with a solution, but right now I'm really anxious. Can we take a moment to breathe and like come back? I can't really handle this right now. Can we revisit this in like 20-30 minutes or something like that, or applying it to other things, just being more aware of your surroundings. Like, is it a safety measure? I think about when I went to Dreamville the first time, that we didn't know what was going on. Some nigga was tweaking, and then a speaker popped, and everybody thought it was gunshots, and it was just droves of people. And that's one of my fears of like being in this crowd of people, and we see how people get trampled and all this stuff. Like, so we're in the dark, we don't know what's going on, we hear it pop, everybody assumes gunshots, so niggas just start running. Where was we running? Because we was fenced in, so it was like, if you gonna die, nigga, you gonna die. Honestly, like, we was just running into each other. But I was able to like be present enough to see like, okay, there is no genuine threat. And I was able to tell myself and my friend like, yo, breathe, we're good, breathe. And we were able to regulate ourselves to come back and enjoy the moment. So the law of detachment, chapter 6. The ego and the self dwell in the same body. The former eats the sweet and sour fruits of the tree of life, while the latter looks on in detachment. Mundaka Upanishad. I think that's a H. Yes, that's a H. The law of detachment. The sixth spiritual law of success, the law of detachment, says that the way to acquire anything in the universe is to relinquish our attachment to it. This doesn't mean we give up the intention to create our desire. We don't give up the intention, and we don't give up the desire. We give up our attachment to the outcome. The moment we combine one pointed intention with detachment to the outcome, we will have that which we desire. Anything we want can be acquired through detachment, because detachment is based on the unquestioning belief in the power of the self. The source of wealth, or of anything in the physical world, is the self, the field of pure potentiality that knows how to manifest everything. All we need to do is nurture our deepest intentions in our heart and go with the flow. Detachment comes from an inner knowingness that we are a pattern of behavior of a higher intelligence. When things don't seem to go our way, we can let go of our idea of how things should be. We know that in our limited awareness, we cannot see the synchronistic, harmonious patterns of the universe of which we and our intentions are a part. Attachment, on the other hand, implies doubt and distrust in nature's intelligence and its infinite organizing power. Attachment is the melodrama of the ego because it is based on fear and insecurity. And this comes from not realizing the power of the self. Those who seek security chase it for a lifetime without ever finding it, because security can never come from material wealth alone. People say, when I have $1 million, then I'll be financially independent, then I'll be secure. But it never happens. Attachment to money and security only creates insecurity, no matter how much money we have in the bank. Attachment to the symbols of wealth, cars, houses, banknotes, creates anxiety because the symbols are transitory. They come and go. When we exchange ourself for the symbols of ourself, we end up feeling empty inside. The search for security is actually an attachment to certainty, to the known, and the known is the prison of our past conditioning. Freedom from our past lies in the wisdom of uncertainty. Without uncertainty, life is just the repetition of outworn memories. There's no evolution in that. And when there is no evolution, there is stagnation, entropy, and decay. In ancient wisdom traditions, the solution to this dilemma lies in our willingness to detach from the known, step into the unknown, and surrender our desires to the creative mind that orchestrates the dance of the universe. The unknown is the field of all possibilities, ever fresh, ever new, always open to the creation of new manifestations. This field can orchestrate an infinity of space-time events to bring about the outcome intended. But when our intentions get locked into a rigid mindset, we lose the fluidity, flexibility, and creativity inherent in the field. Attachment to a specific outcome freezes our desire into a rigid framework, and this interferes with the whole process of creation. True wealth consciousness is the ability to have everything we want, anything we want, anytime we want, with the least effort. Detachment is synonymous with wealth consciousness, because with detachment there is freedom to create. How can we create when we're clinging and grasping and full of anxiety? We don't need to have a complete and rigid idea of what we'll be doing next year or next week, because if we get rigidly attached to that idea, then we shut out a whole range of possibilities. The law of detachment does not interfere with goal setting. We still have the intention of going in a certain direction, but between point A and point B, there are infinite possibilities. With uncertainty factored in, we might change direction if we find a higher ideal or if we find something more exciting. When we experience uncertainty, we're on the right path, and it's the fertile ground of pure creativity and freedom. So how can you apply the law of detachment? Begin by practicing detached involvement. Let me sit up. This means whenever you encounter a problem, you stay grounded in the wisdom of uncertainty while expectantly waiting for a solution to emerge. If you remain detached, you won't feel compelled to force solutions on problems. This enables you to stay alert to opportunities, and then what emerges is something powerful and exciting. The state of alert preparedness in the present meets with your goals and intentions and allows you to seize the opportunity within every problem you have in your life. Every problem is the seed of an opportunity for some greater benefit. Once you have this perception, a whole range of possibilities opens up, and this keeps the wonder and the excitement alive. Only by practicing detached involvement can you have joy and laughter. Then wealth is created spontaneously and effortlessly. The word universe means one song. Your every intention or heart's desire is like a melody in nature's symphony. All you have to do is sing your song. A Rumi poem says, I want to sing like birds sing, not worrying who listens or what they think. If you can sing your song with that attitude, you are participating in the law of detachment, and nothing will be able to stop the force of your intentions. Relinquish your attachment to the known, step into the unknown, and experience all the fun, mystery, and magic of what may occur in the field of all possibilities. When your preparedness meets opportunity, a solution will spontaneously appear that benefits you and all those around you. What is commonly called good luck is nothing but preparedness and opportunity coming together. This is the perfect recipe for success and is based on the law of detachment. To experience the law of detachment, practice detached involvement. Stay alert to the opportunity within every problem by letting go of your idea of how things should be. Accept uncertainty as an essential part of your experience, and your willingness to accept uncertainty, solutions will spontaneously appear. Remain open to all possibilities and enjoy every moment in the journey of your life, all the fun, mystery, and magic in the field of pure potentiality. So, what I'll say with that, and I brought this up because I'm kind of in like this weird space right now. I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety with some things that are happening, right? Um, but I've also talked a lot about how I've been able to manifest a lot of things in my life. And now I'm really kind of seeing the power of all the things that I've said and done. And so it's like, all right, now I see the power of it. So I know I can set my intention and like let it be. But sometimes it's hard because, you know, it doesn't come right when we need it to come, when we want it to come, right? Yeah, it doesn't come when we want it to come, but it comes when it needs to come, right? And so I've been experiencing frustration recently because it's like, I know. Sorry. Is it still recording? Yeah, it's still recording. I got a spam phone call. Um, but I know everything, all the ideas that I've shared with you all, but also have kept to myself because, again, like it said in chapter 7 or chapter 6, what was that? That was chapter 6. No, that was chapter 5. I was said in chapter 5, like, you got to keep some things to yourself. You can't let other people know what you have in mind. One, because some people are envious and they don't believe, like, if it's their not truth, then it's not true, and they don't see it, so they will wish that it doesn't work out for you. So you have that. But two, also kind of going off that, is like, people may not mean harm. Because I think about when I quit teaching and everybody was like, you know, they didn't mean harm. I was like, you need to go back to teaching, you need to do this. And it's like, I know you mean well, and you think that's what's best for me because I was stable. But when it comes down to it, it's like my mental health. I can't do anything if my mental's not right. And again, like, if I hadn't have quit teaching, I don't know where I would be. I knew it wasn't a forever job, but I didn't think I would be here. And I think life is great, even though I'll be like, dang, when payday again, when that happening. But I've just had so many experiences and met so many people, and I've just opened up to the endless possibilities of this world, and also seeing now just the power that my words have had in that law of detachment. Like, I guess that's where I'm struggling with right now. It's like, okay, I know the power of my words. I've seen things manifest. And the difference then was that, like, I was just kind of, I was doing that unintentionally. Just like, oh, I'm putting this out in the universe, maybe not truly understanding it, but having positive intent. And kind of just like, I'm saying this and I'm letting it be and just kind of forgetting about it. And not, at that point, I didn't truly recognize the power of what I was doing. And so now I'm like, all right, I know I've seen it time and time again work out in my favor. Now it's like I'm struggling with that detachment part because I'm so anxious of like, please happen now, please, you know? And so that's why I wanted to bring that up. And all of that enlightenment came from my car accidents that I had. And I've talked about those in other episodes, but it was just like, I just know, like, you couldn't tell me after that first one I wasn't about to be deader than dead. That I, like, the fact that I walked away from that was mind blowing to me. And even in that moment, like, as it was happening, each time the car hit, I'm sitting there thinking like, this is it. And I kept seeing a light that was brighter and brighter and brighter, but I was still calm. Like, I was oddly calm and I was able to breathe through it. And then it just, like, I was accepting of it, and then the car just stopped and everything, like, the light disappeared, and I was now hit with reality of what just happened. And thank God, me and my friend were okay. We're alive to tell the tale. We're alive to go out and do other crazy shenanigans, you know? Like, and we've been able to travel since then. We've been able to do so many things, and my life has opened up. And it was like, in that moment, you know, I'm trying to console her. I was fine, but I was just like, I remember saying to her, like, bitch, we're alive. We're fine. There's a purpose. And every day since then, I've been stepping more and more into my purpose. And I, like, that, when that happened, that was like, I had ended up, Jesse Reyes, y'all know I fucking love Jesse Reyes. If you're listening to this, I just want you to know that you play such a pivotal part in my life, girl. I love you, wifey. I love you so much. But that's when she released her album, Yessie. And I had already been a Jesse Reyes fan. But that was really where that album spoke to my core. It was just on constant repeat. And like, that was the first time that I really took the time to, like, I love this woman. I'm watching all her interviews. I'm watching all of this. And to hear her talk and just kind of hear her experiences of living in the present moment. And like, she was the one that I ended up reading the book, The Power of Now. And that book was life-changing for me. And so then, like, after the car accidents, having that experience, reading those books, it was like, I'm here living day by day. Of course, I'm considering the future, but it's like, I almost died twice in the matter of 2 weeks, both nearly tragically. I'm here to accept whatever the universe got to show me. Okay? Because there's so many things going on in this world, and I am grateful and fortunate enough to not be down bad. Even the situation that I'm in this current moment, it's like, at first I was upset about it, and I was trying to, like, you know, find other ways to get around it. And I was like, no, this is what I need right now. I'm back in this position for a different reason. And so there's a different lesson that I need to learn, and just know it's okay. Take my time. It's fine. And where can I really put, like, where, now that this is, like, you know, I'm fortunate enough to even be able to be in this situation, because it could be worse, you know. So I'm gonna stop rapping, because what's that? It's like 1:20 something. Yeah. So I hope y'all got some good stuff out of that. I'm about to go make breakfast, because I ain't eat yet. I've been up since like 6 something, I think. I ain't eat yet. I've been cleaning. I've been working. I make moves in silence. Hoes might never like me, and I'm fine with a nasty. I'm a real nigga fantasy. I drop dead for a break, nigga handle me do sight. This is rich energy. Y'all little hoes still drinking that Hennessy. And I am. Do I have anything? Oh, I did have some Ask Mango questions, but I'm gonna just save that for the next episode. So, y'all be safe, make good choices. My message was just live in the present moment and practice detachment. It's all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out. Be as present as possible so you can see those connections. Pay attention to your surroundings and see what messages the universe is trying to send you. But before I go, because then I think about like, what is it, 2 weeks ago now, the praying mantis, looking into that spiritual meaning and just like patience. The other day, I came in, I left a big bowl out on my balcony because I was trying to collect some rainwater, and I ended up not coming home the next night. And so when I came back yesterday and I went out on my balcony to see like if I was even able to collect any, it all evaporated. But there was a June beetle in the container. And so when I looked that up, it was the meaning was like, transformation, renewal, um, resilience. And then it was also talking about like at what stage of its life cycle did you see it at, and it was an adult June bug. So yeah, just be present and see, what, pay attention to your dreams. How does that translate? Pay attention to your surroundings. How does that translate to what you're experiencing? What lesson can you take out of something? Yeah, y'all be safe, make good choices.